Let's go on to the Wednesday Wrangle now and join our commentator Liz Storer in Sydney. Liz Storer in Sydney, of course, and columnist Justin Smith joins us from Melbourne. There's plenty going on, guys. Liz, I want to get your thoughts first up on this Quinton de Kock cricket story out of the T20 World Cup. A bloke is forced to take a knee. Now, we don't know why he doesn't want to take a knee, but how can you force people to make a political statement? Surely it's right that he should have the right to choose.
Indeed, Chris. And what really amuses me about this is the left end up falling all over themselves because, as we know, BLM is very much a leftist movement. And this guy's not white.
Oh.
So what do? You're kind of stuck here. Not only that, to add insult to injury, he's from South Africa. You can't lecture this guy on racism. I mean, his country is famous for nothing more than its apartheid system. And these guys were banned from the game for over 20 years, from the 70s to the 90s, because of South Australia's apartheid system. Look, we don't know the reason for him doing this, but I'd say here's a man who's simply saying, I am not playing into this rhetoric. I am not playing into this culture of victimhood. I am not being seen to back a movement that's just being used by as a political pawn by all the wrong people. I'm simply not going to bow the knee, essentially grovelling for something that I'm not a part of. And lastly on this, Chris, what the left do now is say, well, if you don't bow the knee, if you don't wear it purple, if you don't fill in the blank, then you are the very opposite of the thing that we're trying to push. And that is blatantly untrue. But it's how they weaponize their movements. Oh, you must hate the LGBTIQ community. Oh, you must be a racist. No, absolutely not. And here's a guy who's standing up saying, I am not playing ball, no pun intended.
Yeah, Justin, look, I don't know his reasons. He hasn't spoken about his reasons. It might be some personal issues in his past. He might disagree with the whole Black Lives Movement radicalism. He might just want to be an individual and not be told what to do. But surely we have to respect the right that he wasn't going to pretend. He doesn't want to take a knee, so he's not going to fake it. He's going to say, well, if that's the rules, don't play me.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of odd because we don't know the full reason behind why he's not doing it.
But do we need to?
Apart from what Liz said about Black Lives Matter being a leftist sort of organisation or leftist sort of crusade, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think it goes a hell of a lot deeper than that.
Justin.
And I talk to a lot of the people that have been part of it. It is not radical left. I talk to people that are very much a part of the Black Lives Matter movement, and for them, it is the lives that they've had to lead and the racism that they've had to put up with that has led them to do what they've done. But back on this guy, though, I mean, I don't agree with making him do it. I just think it's ridiculous. Yeah. Now, if he wasn't taking the knee because he's a racist and he hates black people and he'd like to see them all dead, well, of course I'm not going to support him and I think he's terrible. But if he's not doing it, just because they ordered him to do it, I absolutely agree. It's not the way you win people over to these things, not by pushing them around.
You can't
telling them they've got to do it. You win over some hearts and minds. That's how you do it.
You can't make virtue signalling compulsory because then it's not virtue signalling. I reckon it's so obvious that you shouldn't make this stuff compulsory. I'm surprised that they didn't play him,
also,
and we'll see how it's going. Yeah, Justin?
It's not virtue signalling though. I don't think the gesture to do it is not virtue signalling. A lot of the people that have done this do it because they believe in their hearts that racism is out of control in the world. It has been out of control in the world of sport at times, and they want to show that gesture. I think it's
out of control. Racism out of control. The point is here.
The answer is in the word gesture, Justin. Yeah. That is all it is, and by definition, that is virtue signalling. This is a meaningless gesture. It doesn't do anything to solve racism whatsoever.
Absolute
it doesn't.
Rubbish.
How does it, in any practical way, make lives better for anyone of colour anywhere in the world? It doesn't.